Welcome to this deep dive. It's about the Children's Special Allowance Settlement. It's a big one,
Oh, yeah.
especially for families here in Manitoba. We're talking about a $530 million settlement here,
Hmm.
and it's all about righting a pretty serious one. So what happened? Well, between 2005 and 2019, the Manitoba government,
Oh, wow.
they held on to money that was supposed to go directly to children in the care of Child and Family Services.
That's right.
It was this federal benefit. It was called the Children's Special Allowance, and it was meant to help these kids with essential
Yeah,
things.
things they needed.
So this settlement aims to get that money back to those families.
It really does. And it recognizes the hardship that this caused and is making sure that those families get what they were entitled to.
All right, so let's break this down a little bit so that folks know. You know what they need to do. Go.
Yeah.
Imagine a family where a child is being looked after by Child and Family Services. Those families were supposed to get this extra financial help. They didn't. And this settlement is about making things right. So if you were in the care of a Manitoba Child and Family Services Agency at any point between 2005 and 2019, you really need to know about this.
Absolutely. And, just to make it really clear, like grade 6 level clear here,
Yeah.
if you were in the care of Manitoba Child and Family Services during those years, you might be eligible.
Okay, so the settlement was officially approved in September 2024. Good news. The Manitoba government decided not to appeal the ruling, meaning that, everything can move forward. So
Yeah.
the most important date to remember, January 6, 2025.
Yeah, that's when people can actually start applying for compensation. They're calling it the claim registration period, and it'll stay open for 2 whole years.
Okay, so that gives everybody lots of time to get organized and get their applications together. And this isn't something that happens automatically. You have to take this step to apply. Now, we know that this can bring up a lot of difficult feelings for people.
Yeah.
So if you're finding this information difficult or stressful, please know that there's help available.
There really is. And we'll talk about that a bit
Well,
later.
absolutely. So,
Yeah, we'll get into that.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
the website for the settlement has a whole section on it about wellness resources. It's important to take care of yourself during this process.
That's such a good point.
Yeah.
You might be wondering, where do I even begin?
Well, the first step is heading to the website. It's www.csasettlement.com. You can think of it as like your one-stop shop for all the information you need.
And they've done a really great job of laying it all out
Yeah.
in a way that's easy to understand.
Yeah. And if you'd rather talk to a real person, they've got a dedicated phone line too. It's called the Claims Administrator Information Line. And the number is 1-204-947-7101.
And if you're calling from outside Winnipeg, there's a toll-free number, 1-844-947-7101.
They're there to answer any questions you have and help you navigate the process.
So let's say you've checked out the website and you think you're eligible. What kind of information do you need to apply?
Well, they haven't released the full application details yet, but they will be providing really clear instructions on what documents you'll need. It's likely to be things like court orders or records from the agency that looked after you.
So just proof that you were in care during that time.
Exactly. And don't worry if you don't have all that paperwork right now. The Claims Administrator Information Line can help you figure out what you need.
Okay, so you've applied. You sent in your documents. What happens next? When can people expect to actually receive this money?
That's a great question. And it's important to be patient. It takes time to process this many applications fairly.
Right. This is a massive settlement, and they want to make sure everything's done right.
Yeah. The good news is that the Manitoba government has already agreed to pay out this $530 million.
So it's not a matter of if the money will come, it's just when.
Exactly. Once the claims registration period closes in January 2027, they'll start reviewing applications and distributing payments.
So there is a plan in place, and things are already moving.
Absolutely. And we should acknowledge the work of all the advocates and legal teams who fought for this.
Yeah, they worked really hard for a long time.
It's really inspiring to see their dedication.
The settlement is about more than just money. It's about accountability.
You're absolutely right. It sends a message that governments need to be held responsible for protecting vulnerable people.
It's a step towards recognizing the harm that was caused and making sure that something like this never happens again.
And speaking of making sure this doesn't happen again, it's important to remember that this isn't just about the past. It's about looking forward and asking how we can better support kids in care.
Yeah, this raises some big questions about the systems we have in place. How can we make sure that all children, especially those in care, get the support they need?
It's a conversation we need to keep having. And the voices of those who have lived experience with the child welfare system need to be at the forefront.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here. Just to recap, this settlement is a big win for Manitoba families. Mark January 6th, 2025 on your calendars. That's when the claim registration period opens.
Yeah, and in the meantime, gather any documents you think you might need and check out that website, www.czsettlement.com.
It's a great resource, and you can sign up for updates there. That way you won't miss any important information.
And if you're feeling overwhelmed, don't hesitate to ask for help. That claims administrator information line is there for you every step of the way.
Exactly. This deep dive was all about making sure you have the information you need. So what does this all mean for families in Manitoba going forward?
Well, this settlement is a step towards justice, but it also brings up some important questions. What can we all learn from this? And how do we make sure something like this never happens again?
Yeah. It really makes you think about the bigger picture. What needs to change to make sure that all children in Manitoba, especially those in the care of Child and Family Services, have the support they need to thrive?
Yeah, it's about making sure their voices are heard and their needs are met. This settlement is a powerful reminder that we all have a responsibility to create a better future for vulnerable kids.
Well said. This has been a deep dive with a lot of information, but I hope you're feeling empowered by what you've learned today.
Absolutely. Knowledge is power, and I really encourage you to share this information with anyone who might be impacted.
It's all about spreading the word and making sure that everyone who deserves this compensation knows how to get it. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive. We hope this information helps you and your family. And remember, you're not alone. There's support available, and there is a path forward.